Hi. It's showing that we're streaming live on Facebook. Hi, everyone. My name is Independent Sales Director Katherine Gage of the Kingdom Building Beauties and Gents Unit 07B2. And I am honored tonight because I have with me tonight a very special, two very special guests. I have Miss Celia Wilson, the first African American sales director in Jefferson City, Missouri, and her daughter, and her daughter, Senior Sales Director J.L. Bolten, and they are here to share with me their experiences that they had during the time that Miss Celia Wilson was the sales director with in Jefferson City, Missouri. I am the first African American sales director in Jefferson City, Missouri, in over 36 years. So Miss Celia paved the way for me, and I just want to thank you so much for paving the way. I have a little bit of accolades for JL. I don't have all for Miss Celia, but she would definitely, her and JL would definitely let us know about her accolades. But JL Bolten has been in Mary Kay for 34 years, 25 years as a sales director. She has been a store consultant over 131 times. She's earned 13 career cars, 3 pink Cadillacs. Pink Cadillacs, get excited. She's been 13 times on the Queen's Court of Sales. Oh my goodness. 7 times Circle of Excellence winner, with 3 times at the $300,000, 3 times at $350,000, and 1 time at $400,000. So wow. She also was selected Miss Go Give February of 2010, and she has also was elected the most improved director in the state of Virginia in 2008. Her most 3 treasured accolades are being chosen by Mary Kay Corporate to represent Mary Kay on a panel discussion at the Congressional Black Caucus. She also represented Mary Kay as a corporate sponsor for the first annual Heroes Summit in DC. Get excited. Also represented Mary Kay 2 times on Capitol Hill to lobby against domestic violence for Mary Kay's charitable foundation. Her favorite quote is, "You are a visible expression of an invisible God who wants to show off through you." May I introduce some and present to others Miss J.L. Bolten, Senior Sales Director, and her mom, Miss Celia Wilson. We call her Mama Celia. I am so honored to have you all today, and I'm going to just let JL take over from here so that you all can share your experiences, as Miss Celia was the first African American sales director in Jefferson City, Missouri.
All right, Katherine, thank you. Thank you so much. And congratulations to you and your unit. That is fantastic. I know you just crossed over and you're an offspring of one of my good buddies. And there she is, Angela Tatum Morning. I am excited that she is here as well. But I feel blessed and honored to share this platform with my mom. And I'm going to actually just be sharing some information. As she reminds us, at 84, her memory is interesting. So I always affirm it's interesting. I don't want her to say it's gone, but it's interesting. Right. So anyway, she started, actually, go ahead and say your affirmation.
I am the willing, intelligent, loving, successful, organized, no-nonsense Celia.
And that is
Wilson.
Yep, and that is exactly how we had to introduce ourselves every Monday night for our success event. And what she always taught new consultants especially is to just think of your name, think of the letters in your name, and that is going to be your affirmation. And of course, with affirmations, it's all about what you'd like to become. Maybe something that you're not yet, but something that you would like to become. So in 1975 is when we moved to Jefferson City, Missouri, and I was so tickled to hear when you were introduced as a new director that you're from Jeff City, where my high school alma mater. But tell us about when we first moved to Jefferson City, there used to be something called Welcome Wagon. And Welcome Wagon is, it's a company where a woman would come to your house with a basket full of business cards and information about the area because you were brand new to the area. And what was your former occupation before Mary Kay?
Gosh, I don't remember.
You were a school teacher.
Oh, that's yes.
And we moved to Jeff City in September. And that was right after school had already started. So all the teacher positions were already taken. So she didn't have a job, and she's not one to sit around. So do you remember that you got a card in the Welcome Wagon thing that was pink?
Oh, maybe.
Yes.
Where it came from.
And it said, "Are you as beautiful as you'd like to be?" And my mother thought, this is ridiculous. She was a model. And she's like, of course I'm as beautiful as I want to be. But she said, let me just call this phone number and see what this is about. And her name was Fern Howell.
Okay, yes, I remember her.
And she came and gave you a facial. And what did you think of the Mary Kay products?
I thought it was wonderful, and I needed to do this. But she didn't know if she could recruit a Black woman.
Oh, wow.
So she had to call her senior director, who lived in St. Louis. And so she came from St. Louis to Jefferson City to meet me.
Wow.
I thought that was honorable.
But honestly, it was to check out this Black lady and see if, you know, she was serious and if they thought that she was able to be successful at Mary Kay. And boy, did she prove them wrong.
Wow.
I mean, she joined in 1975. She became, so that makes it 46 years that she's been in Mary Kay. And she has been a star consultant. She stepped down from directorship when my dad got sick with Parkinson's. But she had been one of the original star consultants. When they started the program, very first time, she was one of the originals. And she was a star every single quarter. And that's 128 times as a star consultant. I know.
Oh my God.
So that means 128 prizes are all over her house.
Wow.
So, and I do remember too, so this is a lot of my memory, that when I joined in 1987, my mom got to be on stage for being one of the originals because there was just a handful who had never missed since the beginning of the Star Consultant program. Wow. So every now and then she'd be featured in Applause magazine, or they'd bring her on stage at seminar, which was an amazing honor. Wow. Now, I know how we currently have the Powered Up by Pink program, where every month when you order at least 600, then you get a prize. Well, back then it was 1,000 when you ordered 1,000 for the month. And you know what you got? I wonder, it might be in her house. I should have gone to look, but for $1,000, and we know that is $1,000 babe, then you got a golden goblet. And it was literally, do you remember those?
Yeah, it's in the cage over there.
Okay, so they're still here, but it is literally a goblet that you could drink out of. And she had so many, it was getting ridiculous. But I know that was something that was fun. And Katherine wanted to know if you had ever met Mary Kay.
Yeah, all the time. From the very first time I went to Dallas. Yeah.
Oh.
She was the nicest person too.
And do you remember?
Christian lady, and very sweet.
And you remember you went to her house?
Oh yeah. Opened up her drawer and looked at her underwear.
You're killing Katherine. But you got to walk through her house. Yes.
The things I do.
And you remember that she made cookies for you guys?
Yes. She did.
And I'm sure she doesn't remember this, but there were just a handful of, and they weren't directors yet, because before you could become a director, first of all, you had to mail in your weekly accomplishment sheets. Back then, they were called weekly summary sheets.
Mhm.
And so you had to mail those in and for several weeks, and they would evaluate if your sales were consistent enough. And you would declare that you
Wow.
wanted to be a DIQ, a director in qualification. And so once you did that and you had the appropriate sales consistently, then you would fly to Dallas, you would meet with Mary Kay Ash herself.
Oh my God.
And that's when you went to her house.
Mhm.
And they sat around in her bathtub and she
Oh my
served them cookies. Yep. Yep.
I'm about to
and-
cry.
Aw. And
Oh my God.
yes, so much fun stuff. And I had taken some notes. Another fun fact is Canada. Do you remember when she's originally from Jamaica?
Oh,
And
really?
she and my father actually met in Jamaica, but they both went to school at McGill University in Canada. And so therefore she had a lot of friends. Her sister lived there. She knew a lot of people in Canada. So guess what? When Mary Kay opened the doors in Canada, then she got to be one of the first directors that went to start
Wow.
recruiting. So she helped build Canada.
Go
And
ahead.
I had to remind her of this too.
Everything she reminds me of, because I don't remember a thing.
It's such a good thing that I experienced this. But anyway, back then when they were opening, then Mary Kay Ash was at all the guest events because she was telling the story of the company. And as at the end, just like today, when national sales directors are closing and they ask who wants to join, people would come up to say they were going to join Mary Kay. And quickly, Mary Kay asked the current consultants and directors, can anyone sing? Can anyone sing? And she raised her hand and she got to go on stage with Mary Kay because there was a song that Mary Kay held dear to her heart. And it was something, and I wish that we remembered the words, but Mary Kay would say a line, and then whoever was chosen to sing would sing the words that she just spoke. And it was all about welcome to our world. So it was a way to welcome the new people. But I thought that was so cool because my mom got to sing.
I'm a singer myself, so that is so honorable.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now I want to share a little bit about, and one more thing is that Mary Kay did a program, a contest, as they always do.
Always.
And what was special is that if you met the qualifications for this, then you would have your name at headquarters. And I know you're brand new sales director, and unfortunately with the pandemic, normally, of course, you'd get to go to Dallas and tour the headquarters, but in the front of the headquarters, there's a beautiful silver statue, and it's called On Silver Wings. And then there is just a whole lot of sales directors' names underneath that for whatever the qualification was. So her name is at the headquarters.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I love that. Now I'm going to tell a little bit of history of Legacy of Champions, LOC.
Oh, yeah.
So when you were a director and you were just getting started as a sales director, something happened in your unit. Do you remember someone was doing something that wasn't?
Yeah. She actually, I think I recruited her, or she recruited me, or yes. Number one, she came and she recruited me, but she wasn't sure that she could have a Black director or a Black person. She could recruit her. So she had to call her director in St. Louis, who drove down in her pink Cadillac, and of course to interview me.
Yep. But I remember when you were already a sales director, then something happened in your unit. I think one of your unit members was trying to recruit people into another company.
Right, that's the same girl.
Oh,
Same
okay.
girl.
Oh, Lord Jesus.
And back then, you could, at events, Mary Kay was very tangible. You could go up and talk to her. And she went up and talked to Mary Kay and was saying that she's having trouble. And Mary Kay referred her to National Sales Director Emeritus Lenny Woods, who was at the time a top Black sales director in Mary Kay. And Mary Kay took my mom over to Lenny and introduced her. And Mary Kay said, "Take care of Celia."
And she's still doing it.
Oh,
She still does.
To this day, Lenny Woods will call her and say, "How are you doing, Celia?" But anyway, I remember Lenny saying, "Mary Kay, am I supposed to be the Black Mary Kay and take care of all the Black directors?" And she was, of course, happy to do it.
Right.
But back then, Lenny realized that. And so she started gathering all the Black directors together so that they would have their own meeting just to support one another. And back then they called it the Black Directors Networking Meeting. And the company was always in favor of it and supported it and that kind of thing. And over the years, something else that you always used to talk about is when you would go to the leadership conference and all the directors, all the Black directors would meet up in somebody's room, in the hotel room.
Right. Yeah, that happened all the time. And we would just sit there and just tell everybody else what we're doing, and they tell us what they're doing and so on. And we just, we just got good.
Yep. And shared ideas and all of that good stuff.
Sisterhood.
Right. The sisterhood. And that later, of course, it continued. And that later became SOS, which was Sisters of Success.
Okay.
And then that later became what we now know as LOC, Legacy of Champions.
Wow.
And of course, that is now something where all the Black nationals support all the Black sales directors, and we meet every year at leadership conference as well. So that's a fun little bit of trivia as well.
Okay.
And let's see, a question that Katherine had asked was, what made you decide to be a sales director?
Well, I'm not going to stay a consultant. No, I have to be what I want to be. And if there's something higher than consultant, I have to be there.
Ambition.
Yeah.
So she knew it was just the next step after being a consultant, then become a director.
So I was a consultant for a very short time.
Yes. Yeah. Back then, I remember the average, and I know it's changed now, but the average time to become a director was about 2 years. So actually right on her wall, we're sitting in her office, right on her wall is a beautiful plaque that says Mary Kay Cosmetics Incorporated proudly appoints Celia Wilson, sales director, August of 1977.
Wow.
So
I was 2 years, I was 7 years old. I was born in 71.
Wow, fantastic, fantastic.
Well, you've come a long way.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Oh my goodness. Also, I do know back then they didn't have cars that consultants could earn. They had two options and only directors could have it. It was a pink Buick Regal and a pink Cadillac. Okay. And Jefferson City, it was much smaller than it is now, but there were only 2 sales directors in the whole town. And of course, she was the only Black sales director. Myra Craney was the white sales director. And don't you know, they both earned their cars at the same time.
Wow.
And they both brought the very first pink Buick Regals to Jefferson City.
Wow.
And
that's
I remember
awesome.
It was a very big deal. I remember they had the large scissors. They had a ribbon cutting ceremony. The news was there.
She remembers a lot.
I do. It was exciting because my mom was a celebrity in Jeff City. And she was in the newspaper and all of that good stuff. And although I remember all of this, I have to tell you, I was extremely shy when she started Mary Kay. I was 7 years old when she started.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
here she is driving a pink Cadillac or a pink Buick Regal. As shy as I was, that brought attention to us. And I was embarrassed. It's like, oh gosh, everybody's looking at us, this pink car. And everyone would always know exactly where we were and exactly who it was at all times. So that
My
was.
husband didn't like being in the pink car either.
Oh, really?
No, because everybody would look at him and the men would laugh. Oh, a pink car?
Wow. And now we have those t-shirts where it says strong men drive pink.
Wear pink. Wear pink.
Wear pink or drive pink, or I'm married to a pink Cadillac sales director, all of that good stuff.
Right.
There was another story that I was thinking of. What was it?
I don't know.
Well, on the note of my father, he became extremely supportive to the point where he was going every year with her to seminar. And of course, living in Jeff City in the middle of the United States, we would drive to Texas every year for seminar. And as little kids, my brother and I, we thought, oh, this is great, because my mom and dad would go to the seminar classes all day long. So my brother and I got to stay at the hotel. We got to watch as much TV as we wanted. We got to go in the swimming pool, all of that good stuff. However,
good thing they could swim.
Right? However, there was one time, and he probably did it many times, but there was one time in particular that my dad came home from the seminar. It was a lunch break, and he came and got us. And way back then, the company was so small that we weren't in the Dallas Convention Center. We were at the Fairmont Hotel, which is still in Dallas. And the entire seminar was held at the Fairmont Hotel. And my dad decided, oh, let me take the kids to lunch at the Fairmont Hotel. Well, as we're walking in the hotel, who walks by but Mary Kay herself?
Oh.
And my father just reached out and said, Mary Kay, will you take a picture with my kids? Remember, I was shy. I was like, oh no, do we have to? I don't want to. You know, she stood there and talked to us for the longest time. My mother wasn't even there. She just knew that my dad was a Mary Kay husband of a sales director, and these were her kids. And she bent over and she talked to us, and she said, now you make sure that you encourage your mom to do her very best in Mary Kay. And make sure you tell your friends that their mothers need facials. You know, she talked to us for such a long time. And of course, now I appreciate it and I treasure it. And I still have that picture. I had my little wireframe glasses. I don't know how old I was, maybe 9 or 10. And I had my hair up in a top notch, actually kind of like what it is now. We're in the same hairstyle. But I treasure that picture. And years later, when I was a Red Jacket and Mary Kay was still alive, you had to earn the right to go to a luncheon. And at that luncheon, Mary Kay was always there at the head table. And this was the only time I ever missed my seminar classes is after lunch. You can imagine everyone swarmed the head table wanting to talk to Mary Kay, and tons of people, right? So I just patiently waited. I don't know how many classes I missed, but patiently waited my turn. And of course, she wasn't going anywhere. As you always hear, she wants to meet every single person who wants to talk to her. And she was sitting at the table, and we were like reaching across the table to talk to her. And she would, you know, put her hand on our hand and just talk to each person. And when it was my turn, I had brought the picture. when we were kids, and my father, my brother, and I were in the picture standing with Mary Kay. And I said, Mary Kay, years ago when I was a little girl, I met you. And she was so touched. And the people who were around us said, oh my gosh, how old were you? And I said, oh, I don't know, maybe 10. And Mary Kay immediately said, so was I. She had such a quick wit. She was like, I was that young too. And she signed the back of that picture for me. So I've got her signature on the back of that picture. So that was something that was so incredibly special. I'm reading through because I know you had a couple of other questions that you had asked. And she's already answered this one for me. And just get ready, you're going to crack up. Okay. But Katherine wanted to know, what barriers did you have to overcome as the first Black sales director in Jefferson City?
Barriers? See, I never consider me Black or white or whatever color. It's just my performance is what's important.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I just go ahead and whatever I've got to do, I'm going to do it to the best of my ability.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what moved me forward.
When I first asked her this question in her best Jamaican accent, she said, I don't think about me being Black.
And that's it.
Because she had no worries about color. She just knew that her purpose was to help women look more beautiful on the outside so they felt beautiful on the inside.
So, I'm a crybaby. I'm gonna let y'all know. I'm a crybaby.
Aw, making her cry.
It's so touching.
I thought it was maybe your allergies.
No, I'm a crybaby.
Oh, that's so sweet. I love it. Yeah, so, she just didn't pay attention to color because, of course, there were very few Black families in Jefferson City. I remember in our elementary school, it was me and my brother, and there was one other family, and it was a brother and sister also. There were 4 of us in the entire elementary school. That was Bel Air. I don't know if Bel Air.
Yeah, it's still there. It's still here.
It's still there. We used to live on Early Lane.
I don't live too far from Bel Air.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah. So there were very few Black people in the whole city, but she facialed everyone that she came in contact with. It didn't matter if they were Black, white, whatever.
Not my problem.
Exactly. And
not my problem, Ma. I'm finna say that myself.
Right. Yep. She was all about just asking everyone.
Awesome.
And I believe back then they would always have bumper stickers, and the bumper stickers said, ask me about Mary Kay.
I think so.
Right. So,
Okay.
So she would, again, just talk to everybody possible. Let's see. I think that kind in covers everything.
And smile a lot.
Right.
Smile a lot. So
Right.
Smile a lot.
Yeah.
I'm here to help you.
Right.
Look better.
Right.
Look younger.
She was also asking, what advice or nuggets would you share with her as the only African-American sales director in Jeff City right now?
So you are the only
African-American. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, the only African-American, but you have some.
We have other directors, but I'm the only African-American.
Excellent. You know what? That gives you the opportunity, and often we say you'll be the token, but be loud and proud to be the token, because you're giving hope to other women who look like us, because they will look at you and say, wow, if she's a director, I can be a director. I will never forget, I want to say it was in 2012 that I was having an offspring in, she lives in Olive Branch, Mississippi. That's Jackie Whitlock. And I went to meet her for the very first time. She was in DIQ, and we were in St. Charles, Missouri for the what is it called?
I don't remember either.
Career conference. Career
Yeah, I
conference.
believe a career conference. Yeah, they used to
Yeah.
have them there. Mhm.
Right. And so I was meeting all of Jackie's future unit members. And so there was a nice group of us. And we went across stage as a Cadillac unit. And when we got off stage, there was a Black consultant who came up to me and said, wow, I'm so happy to meet you. You are the first Black Cadillac director that I've seen in person.
Wow.
So I just felt like, you know, you are the token of hope to others.
Mhm.
And I know in my area, I live in Northern Virginia, which is the DC, Maryland, Virginia area. And I was often the only Black Cadillac director. There were plenty in Maryland, but not so many in Northern Virginia. And I know that my white sister sales directors were happy whenever I was at an event. It's like, where's JL? Where's JL? I've got somebody Black who's watching. And so again, you know, be loud and proud about it.
Wow.
So yeah.
Mhm.
So are there any other questions that you might have?
I think that was it. You've covered so much, and I just want to say thank you, Miss Celia, Celia, for paving the way for me and for so many others, breathing hope. And like I love what you said about there's no barriers. There's color is not a barrier. So I just want to say that you have been a great it's just been great to meet you. And you seem like such a sweet person. I actually feel like I'm talking to Mary Kay Ash. That's who I feel like I'm talking to.
The Black Mary Kay, right?
Yes, the Black Mary Kay.
Yeah.
And so we just want to say thank you. And I wanted to do this just because I wanted to honor you and let you know that your work was not in vain and that history has still been made through me as a sales director.
And actually, as you go around and giving facials, just ask them, did you know a lady named Celia Wilson?
I actually know Dr. Ann McSwain. Well, what's her name?
Anne Marie Wilson.
She's my dean. I know her.
Your dean.
She's my dean. I work with her.
Yes.
Well,
wow.
Try not loud.
Small world. That's
Small
how she
world.
found out.
That's how I found out about you.
Right.
Anne-Marie.
Because
Yes,
Anne Marie said my aunt was the first Black director in Jefferson City. And so when my friend Angela introduced Katherine on Gloria's director call and said from Jefferson City, Missouri, I was texting Angela, what? She's from Jeff City. My mom was a sales director at Jeff City. And when I called Katherine, she said, you're Anne's cousin, because Anne told me that there was a Black director.
Wow.
And we left in 1985 is when we
gosh.
left Jeff City.
And
So,
she's still there, right?
mhm.
Mhm.
Yep.
Haven't talked with her in a long, long time.
Yep.
And have you met, what's her name, Carol?
Oh, Carol Tyus.
Carol
That's her
Tyus?
sister.
I don't think I have. No, ma'am.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Yes, so
All
that's
right.
great.
Mm.
Now we have really got you started.
Well, thanks so much. I didn't want to hold you long. This has been such a valuable time. And like I said, thank you so much. You're such a sweet lady, Miss Celia. And I'm just proud to know you and to know that you paved the way for us. And thank you, JL, for all the memories. And to Facebook land, thank you all for listening. And we have a legend here, Miss Celia.
And as you go from place to place, just ask, did you ever meet Celia Wilson?
I will ask. I am definitely going to be asked.
And if they did, just say she sends hello.
Okay. I definitely will. All right. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful
Take care
time.
now.
Okay.
And do the best you
Bye-bye.
can. That's all. Don't think about Black. Don't think about white. Just do the best you can.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Thank you.
All right.
Such a pleasure.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now.